boys and girls. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about climate change and how the things that we're doing on our planet affect our planet. Last week we talked about the human footprint. We talked about how just living on the planet and using resources and breathing and waste and garbage are all affecting our planet. And we know that we need to reduce, reuse, and recycle. But we are, even if we're trying our best, we still are having an impact on our planet. So this week we're going to be talking a little bit about climate change. Now, the difference between climate and weather is how it is out in our world day to day. So on Monday it's sunny and 63 degrees. On Tuesday it might be rainy. That's weather. Climate is what the environment is like for a long period of time, for like 10 years. So we can say that the climate of Puerto Rico is hot and humid. We can say the climate of the North Pole is cold. So what's happening is that because we as humans are doing damage, as much as we like to not do it, we are doing damage to our planet. We are actually making a change in the climate on our planet. So we're going to talk a little bit this week about climate change and what we can do to reduce, reuse, and recycle to minimize our human footprint, to minimize any kind of changes that we make. Because every change that happens on our planet has an effect. If the polar ice caps melt, then the environment where the polar bears live, they don't have as much above the water habitat for hunting. So it really is a problem on a lot of different levels. So today we're going to be talking about climate change. The first thing that I want to do is I want to show you that there's something that we call the greenhouse effect. And this right here is a greenhouse. And a greenhouse is like a little building that has glass in it. And the sun will shine down and go through the glass, and the plants will use the sunlight, and that's fine. But it will trap the warmth from leaving. So greenhouses are great for when it's chilly at night. It keeps the plants warm. But what's happening is, so that's just a greenhouse you'd have in your garden. What's happening is that the sun warms our planet. It warms the land, it warms the water, and the rays come down and they warm. What's happening is that there are greenhouse gases that trap right here, carbon dioxide and some other gases, and that's always happened. But what's happening now is that we have more of them because of the impact that we're having on the planet. So it's making the climate on our planet just a little bit warmer year after year. And then we're just noticing a trend there that it's warmer and warmer. So Puerto Rico, that might typically be 80 degrees, now maybe it's 83. 10 years from now, it might be 87. We're noticing a trend there. So what they're saying when they say greenhouse effect is that the sun comes down, warms, and gets trapped. The same thing happens over here. The sun comes down, it warms, and then it's trapped. And this is a natural thing to have happen, but what's happening now is that too much of it is getting trapped. The second slide that I wanted to show you was kind of an illustration of this. Here's the sun coming down, and it's heating the land and the water. So they call it the sun's radiation travels towards the earth, the sun's rays of light and heat, and some of them are reflected in the atmosphere. But the warm water and warm earth will take that heat and pass it back out, just like in the greenhouse picture earlier. But we're noticing that some of it is getting trapped. Here's another illustration, and this one I liked because it kind of showed you what we're doing that's making it a problem. So deforestation, which we talked about in the last scope, knocking down trees. Trees take in carbon dioxide and they give off oxygen. We have fewer trees, then we need that oxygen, so that's going to be a problem. Wildfires, just burning things in general. Back in the day, people used to burn their leaves and things like that, gives up too many of these gases back into the environment. Believe it or not, farming, cows, the carbon dioxide from cows or the methane gas that comes from the cows and the compost, that's also adding more gases, okay, and fertilizer in the ground. So here's a little bit of a bar graph that kind of shows you that of the gases, where they come from. And you can see that transportation, the carbon dioxide that comes off of our cars, industry from factories, that makes sense, commercial buildings like businesses, residential, here's agriculture, and here's energy. So this is, when you look at it, transportation is huge. Factories are huge. So those are probably the ones we need to target. We're residents, so we can do what we can do, but we need to really kind of tell people in our world, we need to stop having so much carbon dioxide emissions from cars and from industry. Okay. So the next thing that I want to look at is that our assignment for the week is going to be super science. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through it so you remember how to go into it. Open up a plain old Google search and type in super science. When you type in super science, you're going to get something that looks like this, a super science headline, and then all of this. I would just click this big headline here, Scholastic Super Science. Yes, it's a little bit slow today. And then it's going to ask you to log in. And when you log in, oh, I'm already logged in, so that doesn't help. But the login, you log in as a student, and the password is SS for Super Science, and my last name, Andrews, SS Andrews. The issue that we're going to do is not the May-June issue. The one that has to do with climate change is the one before. It's the April issue. So you're going to open up the April issue. And you're going to see that there are articles. Let me get out of this one because I already have it opened up. Make it easier. Here's the issue. And as you go through, you can turn the page, you can do a sticky note, you can go through the article. So the whole issue is here, okay? And just remember, sometimes there are attached videos. And let me show you an example of that. Hopefully there's one of them here. These are some other interesting articles that I do want you to read. This issue is great for what we're doing because it has, it's so targeted for what we're talking about. Here's the greenhouse effect that we were talking about. And here, you can see right here that there's a video that goes along with it. So we're going to very quickly look at that video. And then we're going to do some stuff with that. Okay.
Striking for the planet. On Friday, September 20th, 2019, hundreds of thousands of kids took to the streets in more than 150 countries around the world. Why?
Climate change is an issue, and no matter how obvious it is,
climate change is much closer than we think already.
Climate change refers to the gradual warming of our planet. This shift in Earth's temperature is changing the planet in all kinds of ways. It's leading to more extreme weather, like droughts, hurricanes, and intense heat. It's also causing sea levels to rise. And it's shrinking habitats for plants and animals. This is happening because people burn fossil fuels like coal and oil to provide energy for cars, factories, and power plants. That releases greenhouse gases into the air. These gases trap heat from the sun and cause Earth's temperature to rise. Many kids want world leaders to address climate change by passing laws to limit greenhouse gas emissions. That's why they've been marching. On September 20th, 2019, I went to the climate strike in New York City to hear what these kids had to say.
I'm here marching today because I think it's pretty obvious that climate change is an issue, and no matter how obvious it is, it seems that policymakers aren't treating it that way.
I want to make sure we preserve everything that we have here and making sure that, we limit our fossil fuels, we limit the amount of plastic that we use and recycle and etc.
I think that striking and protesting is important because it's showing that even young people can make a difference and young people can make a stand and make the world a better place.
Many kids decided to join the march because they're scared about their future.
New York City might be underwater if we don't do anything. So we need to act fast and we need to act now. This is a serious problem. And if we don't do anything, the place where I grew up in this neighborhood might be the ocean someday. And that's something that I just can't allow.
We have very little time, and I, like many of the people here today, really fear for our collective future.
And 50,000 people attended the climate strike in New York City. They marched to the lower tip of Manhattan, where several climate activists gave speeches.
Hello, New York City.
This is Greta Thunberg. She's a teenager from Sweden who started this youth climate movement. In August 2018, Greta began protesting every Friday outside the building where the Swedish government makes laws. She has inspired thousands of students all around the world to do the same.
We have not taken to the streets, sacrificing our education for the adults and politicians to take selfies with us and tell us that they really like what we do. We are doing this to wake the leaders up. We are doing this to get them to act. We deserve a safe future. We demand a safe future. Is that really too much to ask?
Kids in New York City also had some strong words for world leaders.
I tell them to listen. This is a great example of how people care about what's happening to the environment. So I think, especially for people who are currently running, who want to position, this is the kind of thing that people care about. So I think you guys should pay attention.
If you do not pass climate reform, if you do not take action, we will not have a future.
Everybody knows the facts. Everyone knows that there's science behind all of these, very knowledgeable statements. Everyone knows that climate change is an actual thing. So what are you going to do about it?
It's been a long, amazing day. These kids are exhausted, I'm exhausted, but there's so much energy. And these kids look like they're ready to change the world.
So in that video, we saw that children, teenagers, young adults are very aware that in their lifetime, there are going to be the effects of climate change. So they want to do something about it. By protesting, they are telling the government, we want you to set laws. So the government can set laws about how much gas emissions come out of cars or factories, can require that factories have filtration, that kind of thing. So that kind of protest definitely does help. So wanted to show you right here that you're going to watch the little video that's right there, and which we just saw, and you're going to read through the article. Okay, and it's continued over there, and there's Greta. Okay, and for those of you who like to create things, there's actually a little invention here that you can do. You can use use what you know about science to build like a solar cooker and see if you can increase the temperature by using colors or fabrics like tin foil or darker colors to absorb the heat, and then trap it in there, which is exactly like the greenhouse effect. Okay, there are also some extra articles in here that are great. And I am going to, there's a little bit about the solar. I'm going to post an assignment that goes along with this. So if there are any questions, just let me know. I know I met with you all today. It's important that you catch up on all of your STEM scopes work. By the end of this week, you really need to have that done. Okay? All right.